Greetings, fellow mayors. This is Captain Obvious, and welcome back to the Master Class Series. And in this episode, I will continue with the Riverbank development and make harbor traffic naturally disappear. Since the highway is going over a river, we will first restructure this, for I like having my highways with suspensions on the pillars. And to achieve this, the highway must be elevated and it should go straight. You also need to consider the number of pillars on the bridge, and a good number of pillars to get across is just 2 with a pillar on each side of the river. Since the bridge was going straight, I figure why not just continue the straight path instead of winding the highway for no particular reason. So I made a few more adjustments and I am happy with the outcome of the highway. Okay, so we have this metro track going through, and I think it would be really cool if it went through this pillar. So we're gonna try that. And she fits like a glove. That is gonna be so awesome. We could elevate this bridge ever so slightly. So here, this one's a little jank, but when I unlock this tile, I'll be able to make this go completely straight. So for now, just ignore what it looks like. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and make our key wall so that we can complete this track. Here, I'm just relocating the ferry depot so we can continue developing on the other side of the river. Okay, so for now, don't mind this. It's just that I want this to be operational. So if you look, yeah, so this is the network, but I am going to replace it with our elevated one. But since we're still constructing it, I just made this hard connection, so don't mind that. Step 1, we establish our terrain foundation by massaging Mother Nature. Then step 2, we establish our transportation options. In this case, I'm starting with the metro station. So we have a new expansion area and the same rules apply from the previous episode. This is a little peculiar because it's an underground metro station while we have an elevated metro track. Therefore, I'm going to try something new and just have a short underground track from near the key walls. I haven't completely established our terrain, so I'm going to continue in finalizing the levels of the terrain. Then I'm going to add an elevated dual platform train station and add a monorail station. I'm aware that there are combined stations of metro, train, and monorail, but I really wanted to use these 3 different stations just to make it look more interesting. Okay, we have our terrain and transportation set up. Now we can proceed with our road network. In my first few months of playing Cities Skylines, I've always started by building roads, adding avenues, starting zoning, then adding parks and services. But at some point, when you start incorporating your transportation, you will find yourself having to redo your roads. Okay, we kind of have our huge setup here. We have our metro station. I'm using this Japanese building. I think it really looks neat. I'm very excited to see if Sims go up and down here. It has a really neat design. This is like a grocery store, so I'm very excited when this is being utilized. And down here, so there are other ways to get on. So we have a monorail line and the train line, right? They're able to cross with this pedestrians track. They're also able to go down here. And this, instead of just going straight, I kind of went another route, and we're gonna do something with that, going in that direction. But for now, we're gonna focus on this end. The other thing to keep in mind is that we also have a tram route, so it needs to also go here. Just an FYI, this episode was recorded and live streamed in the purple brand, so at some points in this episode, you may notice the speech volume change, and that is because during live gameplay, my speech energy is much lower. While this voice audio over the time lapse may be a little louder and with more energy because I was able to script my speeches, unlike my live streaming. Unfortunately, I can't speak eloquently, compared to the larger Cities Skylines content creators, and I don't have a large vocabulary, nor is my grammar any better. I will not use Chat GPT to fix my scripts because it won't match when I play live and speak. As long as my audience can understand what's going on in the video and they learn something, then that is mission accomplished for me. Regardless if I stutter at times and lose myself in finding the right words for the situation. And of course, I am grateful to everyone who have tolerated my mediocre command of English. And a true story is, about a year ago, I took an IELTS exam, which stands for International English Language Testing System, and I had a barely passing grade overall of 6.5 out of 10. For speaking, I had a 7, and I thought I was at least an 8 or 7.5 because I think I am at least comprehensible. I mean, English and speaking in general is hard. I suppose it's the structure of my sentences that gave me low marks in the exam, regardless if I'm comprehensible or if I understand what is said or written. Okay, here I've added a ferry harbor and this will connect to the Riverbank districts. Then here I have the same theme where we use the in-game assets, which are these abandoned houses. So we're going to create another low-income neighborhood by manipulating the district zoning. I'm aware that we need to gain more population, but it's still important to stick to the theme of your city build. Okay, there we are. We have our rundown neighborhood. So now let's proceed with the road network on the riverbank. There isn't a lot of space, so just a singular road should suffice, and there's no reason for the road to sway in different directions, so we're sticking with a straight road. So with all of these transportation stations at one area, the absolute best things to add are stadiums, which is the plan that I have here. And stadiums require flat terrain, otherwise you're going to get awkward lumps. And we're not just going to add one, but 2 stadiums. There are larger stadiums that I would rather use, but this baseball stadium is what fits. So I probably should have planned what stadiums to work with in the first place. Regardless, we will make this work. Okay, so we got a huge passenger traffic to deal with. So ideally, they would take this. However, it's not set up. I suppose now is a better time than any to properly connect our metro station. So let's delete our temporary track and redo our underground tracks. Oh, look at this tourist pocket car traffic. But don't worry, we will greatly reduce the use of pocket cars by promoting the use of our multiple transportation options. First, we will need to create a road closer to the walkable quays so tourists can walk from the harbor ferry stop to the 3 different stations that we have set up. So again, we don't have a lot of space to work with, so this oddly shaped block will suffice, and of course, the zoning can only be commercial or offices due to the noise pollution caused by the stadiums and transportation stops. And I will opt for the high density commercial, which invites more high wealth tourists. Let's take a mental note on the traffic disaster caused by the tourists coming in from the harbor. And this will take a while for the citizens to realize that there's a path to walk up the stations. So for now, we'll just continue developing the monorail line. This area is the epicenter of the city, so I decided to redesign by adding the countdown timer for the release of Cities Skylines 2. We unfortunately did not get early access, and I'm not sure how the other content creators were able to get early access, whether you apply, ask, was recommended, or was invited to have early access, or perhaps I said or did something that Paradox did not like. I don't know, we will never know. Nevertheless, we have about 2 weeks until we get to learn the new mechanics of Cities Skylines 2. However, on the 19th, those that did get early access will be able to stream live gameplay of Cities Skylines 2. Therefore, I need to finish what I can on the 18th because I'm sure that everyone would be checking out all the Cities Skylines 2 content, and that is including myself. And I am not going to compete with Cities Skylines 2 content. It it's like when the Dev Diary videos were released for the first few months, and everyone with early access was able to watch the upcoming Dev Diary and release a pre-made video on the same hour of release. Then those who did not have early access or this privilege will have to go through the process of dissecting that Dev Diary. But by the time you release the video, nearly everything has already been said by those who did have early access and released their video. So we're basically swimming against the current, while those with early access are not even in the water, they are driving a speedboat. So you just gotta know when you can't compete. Therefore, on the 19th, until release day, I don't think I'll be making any CS1 content, but we'll focus on another game and community that I am in, which is Age of Empires 4. Okay, let's adjust our tram route. So we have a tram here. Let's create a new tram route. Well, would you look at that? There is significantly less pocket cars, while other tourists are opting to utilize the public transportation. That is mission accomplished, and over time, hopefully less pocket cars are used as we activate more stations. So back to what I was saying. So this week up to the 18th, I plan to stream live every day of the development of this city in the purple brand. So make sure to check me out if you want to see how the city ends, if I am able to reach 100,000 population with no traffic and on just the original highway entrance to the city. I am probably live right now, but if not, hit that follow button, for I will surely live stream Cities Skylines 2 when it does come out. Naturally, step 3 is to add city services, but in this case, I just added the overpowered eco-friendly incinerator plant and at least one cemetery near the low-income neighborhood. And here, we're adding the medium soccer stadium from the Sports Venues Content Creator Pack by Bad Peanut. With all the transportation options nearby, let's see if we can get 6 wins in a row for our stadiums. So stadiums are generally bad because of their extreme upkeep costs and how they cause traffic during match day. But it is only bad if you don't know how to manage traffic and don't know how to generate income. While our city is still enjoying positive weekly income and our bank is nearly at 100 million, while we're still at 43,000 population. So again, I will be live streaming the progression of the city every day starting next week. And the times will vary because I will be streaming as much as I can. So around the countdown timer, I want to keep the area clear so the timer would be prominent and not get lost amongst tall structures. Therefore, we're just going to zone low-rise, local and organic produce, add parks, pedestrian paths, and plant trees to surround the countdown timer. Erratic pedestrian paths I feel looks much more appealing than straight paths, especially in wide open areas. I mean, what else can you do with the empty spaces? The vanilla large rocks are not as appealing, and speaking of which, it is unfortunate that Cities Skylines 2 does not have any props, but it may be available in a content creator pack or workshop, and we have yet to see what the final product is in Cities Skylines 2. So I guess we'll find out in 2 weeks from now. But it is still really disheartening when some things from CS1 are not possible in CS2 base game. They should at least provide a few base game props which will make everyone happy. Then they can still have their content creator pack for more props. I mean, I'd still get it. Unless it's a computer performance thing, so they don't want to give base game props, but I wouldn't know. I'm not that tech savvy. And step 4 is strategic zoning. So here is where we are zoning our high density residential that is far away from the noisy stadiums and transportation stations. We did not really gain a lot of population in this episode, but I also did not want to do the same exact things in a row. So in the previous episode, we did our Riverbank district, while this episode, we refined a few areas, added a harbor, and 2 stadiums. So we are nearly filling in everything. So this one is looking great, right? We just did this corner. We have an incoming cruise ship with 100 passengers. Let's check how our traffic goes when they land or when they port. And they're choosing to take the transportation. That's nice. Not one car. That is excellent right there. So I'm assuming they're gonna take it. Oh, some of them are just walking over here. That's interesting. In any case, oh, we got more. So that's 100. Another 100, another 100. Let's see. Okay. Yes, look at that. Traffic is no longer existing here. Let's check our overall traffic. We're at 88%, 87, and still again, we are still on our singular highway entrance. We have never made any new connections, and we're gonna try to complete the city in that aspect. So with that said, let's go ahead and continue. So I want to fill this area. I want to make this into an amusement park. So let's reconfigure our roads, but I also want to add in high density. Of course, we're still trying to increase our population, so let's go ahead and do that. So this amusement park is probably the weakest aspect of the city. I didn't exactly plan on how to go about this. It is near the highway and it was just out of the blue. We're also just in the process of maximizing the level of the park, so perhaps in the future I will refine it. Yeah, this space is a little cramped, and the carousel park that is attached on the road is a generic ploppable, and I usually combine it with the amusement park as a whole. But as you can see, we don't have a lot of space, so yeah, I definitely need to revisit this design after we maximize the park level. Okay, so for now, I think we have more than enough. Let's go ahead and continue our monorail line. Okay, so our monorail is going to stop here. Then we are going to create the endpoint. So we have not seen this station in a very long time, so I think it's pretty cool that we're using it. So yeah, we're updating this to a monorail. However, when it comes here, it has this awkward turn. I think we have to demolish this and make it just go straight because it's just a little too weird that it's gonna suddenly turn. So unfortunately, we have to redesign this area. Okay, I'm a little more comfortable with the avenue going straight, but when I initially constructed that road, I wanted it to prioritize from the bridge, which wasn't the right decision. But now I think this looks a lot better. Okay, now that we have our monorail set up, let's go ahead and activate it by creating routes. So I'm not going to detail this area just yet because we really want to gain population. The only reason why we are doing the monorail is because it is part of a network. We were sidetracked by several different projects like this low-income neighborhood, the amusement park, transportation hubs, and stadiums. Nevertheless, they do play a role in the city as a whole. We barely grew in population for this episode, while in the next episode that will be live streamed in the Purple brand, I will make the overall city traffic disappear, and we are not going to use the pedestrian street hack. Traffic will be solved with vanilla knowledge of the game mechanics, and you get to watch it live. So until then, if it's not too much trouble, and if you enjoyed the video and would like to support the channel, please take the time to hit the like button. This is Captain Obvious. I appreciate your time spent here and for choosing to fly with Obvious Airlines. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next flight.